I'm saying is that you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and disparage people, period, and try to make a profit off of that very thing. And that's what he did. He built a brand. He considered that what he did a brand. Okay, that's what he did. And based on what I know about people, building brands today in today's world, their brand is everything. Their name is everything. And sometimes whether or not we won't know, because I personally didn't know the man, so I can't say behind the closed doors whether or not he actually spoke to, let's just say, his mother, his sister, his brother, and say, you know what, I'm making, this is just good money for me. But in reality, I really don't believe these things. We don't know, and we will never know how much of this stuff is really him and whether or not this was a persona. We don't know. And that's the beauty about, the social media age today, is because you know what? We get so caught up and hung up with everything social media, but we don't know how much of this is really not who these people really are, as much as it is they're selling a product. Now, my thing is, it was the product that he put out. Okay, and I'm not going to begrudge anybody from earning a profit. Maybe it was quite lucrative for him to do that. Maybe it was quite lucrative for him to do that. But my thing is you cannot, and this is the part that is very, if it grinds me to, it feels like grind glass in my hand. And because this is what I say, stop trying to tell women, especially black women, if you're not for us, then you're against us. If you're gonna sit there and say disparaging things, stop trying to tell a black woman, oh, you know what, black women, oh yeah, you know what, he passed away, so you know what, you guys can feel this way now. No, you don't get to see, that's the problem. You don't get to make that a decision for us. We make that. The question is, you can ask us, you know what, black woman, how do you feel now? I know he says some things. That's the first thing as a black man you should say out of your mouth is, you know what, sis? I know he says some cruel things. The mere fact that people would come up here, especially male, black male, to say, you know what? Well, there was a lot of things that he said that I found to be truthful. I thought what he was saying is kind of truthful, and it was key in part, of course, for building a black community. Black community where? Building where? When you're sitting there calling people, understand something. A black woman can't marry herself. She needs somebody to be married to. And if a black man is not going to marry her, because he's not ready to be married, but he's ready to be a father. He's not ready to be married, but he's ready for this. He's not ready to do any of it. So we can't get married to ourselves. We need you guys to want to be married to us as well. But if everybody want to sit around and play house, this is what we do in our community. So if you want to, and one thing about me, I would give a lot of truth serum. Our community is hurting and falling apart. And the reason why is because as a black woman, we don't trust you guys enough to lead us anywhere. AKA Kevin Samuels. He led a lot of people away from their husbands and their boyfriends. He led a lot of people away. He led a lot of people away. Marriages, relationships fell apart because he was telling women, you should be submissive. Learn how to be this. Learn to shut up when your man is speaking. I started listening to Kevin Samuels when he first came out with his podcast. He was not nothing new to me. He was a turnoff.
Well,
Because
actually,
Well, I would say,
if we can't come together and love one another and find a common ground and say, you know what, we need to build for each other and find out what it is that we both need. If we need each other, and that's a big if, because you can sit there and say, oh, a man needs a woman and this woman needs a man. And both of us are pulling so far apart. Women are saying, forget you. The men are saying, forget her. That's not going to work.
Can I
but
add this on
Go
but
there?
ahead, please, baby.
Um,
when
um, and
oh
then I'm
go
gonna let Nicholas speak. And I'm not defending him, but I'm in the middle tonight because I want people to feel like this is not I love you space or I hate you space. This is get everything off your chest. I'm gonna let everybody rock out tonight. But I do want to point out that he has been criticized about telling women that they shouldn't have gotten a divorce, actually, that they shouldn't have left their marriages. And some women criticized him for saying that. So, to your point about he's tearing up marriages, he's actually, and I'm not saying that that hasn't happened, but What I've heard is that people have come down on him about telling women that they should have stayed married to their exes. And so they've been criticizing him about that. But let me ask you something, Tindu. Who will black women talk specifically? Because you're a black woman. Who will black women listen to about how to fix this? About
The-
their behavior, about their areas of opportunity, and we all know sisters have areas of opportunity. I don't think anybody will argue that point. Who will they listen to, Tindu?
I
Nobody,
think,
But
nobody,
well,
Nicole.
my
I,
Because they attack you, right, Nicole? They don't listen to
Child,
you,
I've
so who
been
they
well,
listen
called
to?
and I was
everything
getting
but
ready
a
to
child
say,
of God.
you know what?
the truth
And
is nobody.
As
Sasha
you
is right.
are,
I
they
think
attack
in the
Nicole.
reality is
So
that
Nobody.
the only thing is that either if we can't listen to each other as women, sisters, whether you're a black sister, a Spanish sister, whatever sister you are, because and the reason why I say that is because there's no race that's out there that haven't gone through what we've gone through. Women get cheated on, whether it doesn't matter what relation, race or religion you are. Women get abused mentally, physically, and verbally, no matter what race you are. So I think in the grand scheme of things is again we have a trust issue. So the thing is first and foremost, how do we gain trust? And if you can't gain trust within, let's say your closest friend who can be your ally, because more than likely she's going through
But
some
here's the
things.
thing,
And
Tindu.
granted,
I
go
agree with
ahead.
you. There is a trust issue with black women. But my point is, I've been said, and then I'm gonna let Nicholas speak, and I want others to jump in. Y'all, this is every man for themselves. You got to jump in here.
Do you mind if I
Uh,
say something
yeah,
after Nick?
absolutely, absolutely. Let
Go
me
ahead.
get this out, and then I'm gonna let Nicholas talk because he did come off mic. I've heard women say, Nicole, you're too harsh. But I've gone in rooms on Clubhouse where y'all literally cussing each other out. And I'm like, I've never
exactly.
called any other woman on this app out of her name. I've never cursed. I don't curse in general in public. No, I'm just playing. I have my moments, right? But I'm never disrespectful and calling women out of their names on this app. But y'all love spaces where this goes on like that's commonplace. But they'll tell me I'm harsh. Go ahead, Nicholas. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Nicholas.
So no, no. So just in response to what Tindu said has said, about Mr. Kevin Samuels, like, okay, you said that you said that he was tearing the black community apart, like by telling black women to just shut up and submit. If he that's been like the biggest misconception about Kevin Samuels, because if anything, he was trying to keep us together. He was trying to keep us together, and the reason why I say that was because, again, man, again, he was telling a lot of women, you know, the reality of the situation, whichever situation that they might be in, whether it was trying to find a man that has 6 figures, or a man that could take care of her and her kids, or her leaving her baby's father. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was not trying to tear us apart, man. He was just trying to show you that, okay, the likelihood of you getting that, whereas the likelihood of you not is slim to none. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just it goes back to, like, the truth, man. Like, and that's something that, and I don't think just a lot of people are able to swallow that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to force you to look yourself in the mirror.
I think the reality, Nicholas, of what you're saying, and very well said. The problem is that you don't. When this news broke, okay, one of the things that that spread like wildfire, and that's the world in which we live in, because things can travel in zero point 0.5 seconds. And the thing about it is that the word came out is controversial, and that's what it was. It was controversial. And if you go and again, you can listen to him. I don't know the man, and I listen to him like a lot of us. We all listen to him. His shows intently. A lot of us listen quite intently. My thing is this: you don't get the word controversial for no reason. Okay, that's one. And so everyone, when this news traveled and broke, that was what every outlet said. And then if you also go on each outlet, because this becomes a personal thing, what you feel personally about him, and when you listen to him and how he spoke, and whether you felt like he spoke directly to you, because there's a way where a person can speak. You don't have to even be in their presence, but you can feel that they're speaking to you. You can feel their words. You can hang on to every one of the words, the syllables, and everything that they say. And you can feel like, you know what, wow, I really feel everything that he's saying, and I felt like he was speaking to me only. You understand? You can take that. However, you cannot expect the rest of us to take it the way you see it. You can't, because all of us listen to him. And if Kevin Samuels had 2 million followers, 2 million people listening to him, you cannot expect 2 million people to agree with what he said. You cannot. That's just not possible. Because if that was the case, you don't arrive at being controversial. You won't do that. Controversial means there was a miss. Either some people agreed, and some people thought he was a little out of line. That's where that come from.
But you want to know,
He was not my dad.
but you want to know why? You want to know why a lot of people called him controversial? Was because he was telling the truth. Think about it. Just think about it, right? Okay, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people, that's right here, that's right here listening to us. Okay, so you have family members. I know for a fact I got family members like that are very blunt, and they're very articulate and outspoken. So what I'm saying is that they don't have no filter. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like it's like, what I'm saying, you talk to them, and you know what I'm saying, they could ruffle some feathers, man. They could ruffle your feathers a little bit. So all I'm saying is that, the things that he was saying, yes, some of them were controversial, but at the same time, they were harsh realities. They were
But let
very.
me ask you something, Nicholas. Explain to all of us in this right now, what was the truth that he spoke? What did he say that was truthful? Because what you find to be truthful, I didn't. That's all I'm saying to you. It's okay. My thing is, you said it was truthful. And I don't know if it's because
Mhm.
you're African American male. All I'm saying to you is that where you found some things to be truthful is what I'm saying. You
Okay.
hang on to it because you believe it in your heart. That's how you feel. That's all I'm saying. What you found to be truthful, I found as a black woman, educated, okay, career oriented, own my own business, I found to be disparaging and disgusting. That's what I found. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to tear anybody down because of their beliefs. I would never do anything like that. I would never begrudge anyone. He had an audience for a reason.
Hmm.
Okay? People listened for a reason. And because they wanted to hear it, albeit whether you agreed with it or you didn't. There was a reason why he drove traffic. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that when we get to a point where, and this is the problem we have as a community, we always try to pull people in and try to convince them to see things from through your lens. And I
So let
can't do
so
that.
let Nicholas answer your question. Nicholas, can you answer the question?
Answer her question in turn. Oh, in regards to what she was saying, like what was truth and stuff like that.
Yes. Tindu asked your question. What was the truth?
Basically, what I was asking Nicholas is that you said that the what made him controversial was he was telling the truth. What I'm asking you as a black male who listened to him, will tell me about the truth that you heard. What was truth about everything he said? Because when he spoke about black women, you said it was some truth there. I would like to know what part of
Right.
all of what he's saying was true.
Right. Okay. I give you an example. So, um, let's just say when Kevin Samuels talks about black women in terms of them not being married, and the reason why they're not married. He points out the fact of them having a bad attitude and in a horrible mouth. You know what I'm saying? Them not willing to be submissive. Them not willing to be cooperative. Them not willing to listen. You know, them not them women black women well some black women, not willing to not willing being able to uh to let a man lead. So you know those are just, what I mean, examples, what I'm saying, that, and like, when you sitting there, you listen to them, I mean, like, you just got to think about it, like, from the experiences that I've dealt with, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to relationships, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, like, it does have its like its similarities, you know what I'm saying, a lot of.
Can I want
May I
to?
say something? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I know you want to talk, Kev. So I'll go after you. I'll go after you
Go
because you've been trying to talk.
I'd
ahead.
like to answer the question, please.
Go ahead.
The question is, you're not gonna like it, man, but I'm gonna tell you. Here's what he told the truth about men with money that are not interested necessarily off the rip in long-term relationships. They're interested in women that are attractive. That's what he told the truth about. When he talked about men desiring women with no children and to be hot, that's what he told the truth about. Is that flattering? No, it isn't. But it's the truth. Secondly, I don't think we can make Kevin Samuels responsible for all of the hostility that has occurred between black men and black women. That's a bit of a stretch. Uh, Called movie is coming back to me now. 1995, I think it was called Waiting to Exhale. That was a strong dose of medicine, and that was a fictionalized account of the author's real life experience. And when a lot of black women saw that, they became extremely cathartic. You would have thought that was an exorcism. They actually called it the Bible for dealing with brothers. And she said in that movie exactly the same thing that Kevin Samuels was saying here in 2022. He just said it maybe a little bit more direct. When he talked about the high value man, if you look at the characters and the people that are, it's the same criticism now that I think about it. So to say that, to make him, and no one's telling you how to feel about Kevin Samuels. I'm not. You feel how you want to feel. You think how you want to think. But what people are saying is that Kevin Samuels may have offended you, but I don't think he's the boogeyman that a lot of people are making him out to be. But in terms of your question and the answer to your question, his truth was that men with money want hot chicks to sleep with. That's ugly to say. And a lot of men don't want to say it. A lot of men don't want to say it because of how it makes them look or how it comes off to you. Is it shallow and superficial? Yes. But in a market where people are not getting married and everything is based upon casual sex, everything is shallow and superficial.
I
Right.
don't
Right.
have a problem with that, not at all, Tony. And no, and at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. We do live in a microwave society where people like what it is that they like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with a man wanting the hottest chick in the fucking room. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? You want the woman that got the brains, the brawn, the booty, and hell, a bank account to match. What is wrong with that? But the problem with that is say it. The problem is that you want a woman this way. And then you say things like, well, women don't tell you what y'all want. A lot of guys do want women to be submissive, but yet you're afraid to use the word submit because the hot chick may run out the side door. Or basically, you know what, she is gorgeous. She's everything you possibly want
Tendo,
or
do you
forget.
think Tendo, do you think Kevin had anything right about black women? Anything?
Yes.
There are a few things that he said that I agree with in terms of women with intellect and strong women that have intellect, that know how to converse and stuff, and know how to get a man. The only thing he was talking about that I did agree with was how to keep him if you're lucky enough to get one of those high value men, is what he stated, and how to keep him, and what would make him happy. You
I
understand?
think I think, because I want to move the conversation along, we got a lot of people on stage. I
Right, right,
think
right, right, right. I
for
didn't get a chance to even speak, but go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I for a lot of it's popcorn style. Y'all gonna have to jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of women who are accomplished, they're older. Um, Life didn't happen romantically the way they thought it would pan out. A lot of what Kevin said kind of hit them hard. It hit them hard, and the statistics actually show, even though he didn't present them um, all the time, it is actually trending for him to be correct. The more successful women become, the harder it is for them to find a man on her level or higher. And the women who are constantly saying they want a high value man who makes as much money as her or more, and she's past 30, it becomes almost impossible. And that's regardless of race. I even say that. And
Period.
I actually provide documentation. So for a lot of women who listen to me, they already heard that. But for a lot of women around the world, they never heard this. There's books on the
Hmm.
market, it's articles being published about this all the time, but they've never heard it presented to them that way, because in the black community, the black woman is God. You can't tell her nothing. You can't tell her the truth. You can't. It's like the emperor's new clothes. You can't tell the emperor that he's walking around nude. You can't tell black women, oops, you made a mistake back there in 85 by letting that guy go that wanted to marry you, but you wanted to continue doing what you wanted to do. And now we're pushing 40 and things aren't coming together like you thought they would. It's going to only get tougher. And when he said it, he was direct to the point, and that hurt. It hurt, and it hurt because on a subconscious level, I think a lot of women knew that he was kind of telling the truth. And the statistics are trending that he is telling the truth. And I understand why it hurts. Go ahead, Kev, and
Right,
everybody just pop in there because I
right,
really want to hear from everybody. Go ahead.
right,
Yes.
right. Absolutely. And I think to kind of piggyback on you, Nicole, and brother Tony, is that what I heard. And keep in mind, I listened to Kevin Samuels, not snippets, but I listened to his podcast on a few occasions. I heard his main takeaways was accountability, people being held accountable, and people having realistic expectations. There's nothing misogynistic about being held accountable and having realistic expectations. There's nothing anti-black woman about being held accountable and having realistic expectations. Now, granted, a lot of people may not like the delivery, but the message is fact. It's true. And I'm gonna tell you, the hardest things for human beings to swallow, the hardest pill to swallow is the truth. The truth is painful, the truth hurts, but it's the truth. Now, the only way for you to change the truth is to change your perspective on life. That's the only way to that's the only way for you to conform and to be and live to the highest of your ability. Without being held accountable, it'll be chaos. Your life would be chaos. That's the truth. Without living to realistic expectations, you won't be able to live to the heights of your ability. That's the truth. That's one of the key takeaways that this man was saying. And not just this man, but a lot of other people are saying. Now keep in mind, like there are other podcast content creators that say the same thing. You hear in the white community, everybody from Jordan Peterson to all these other folks in the white community say the same thing for their community. And they don't, now we can't compare their community with our community because our community has a whole different levels of complexities that other communities don't have. But just keep in mind, we have to get in the mode of not thinking that people can't tell us something. We have to be honest and real with ourselves. We have to get out of this attitude that folks can't tell us nothing because we'll never progress and never grow and never be happy in life. That's the reality. And I'm gonna land my mic and pass it on to our sister Nawe because she's been waiting.
Thank you, Kev. Um, So I'm a believer, right? You need to get different opinions, and you I'm always looking to grow. But I cannot get on the point of Kevin Samuels being trying to help women grow and being, this big huge promoter of just wanting the black community to grow. I understand what Tindu is saying. One of the things that he said is he's solely responsible for men in terms of like saying negative things about women. No, but he put the fire behind some of these men's back. And I think we have to be honest about that. Because for you to say out of your mouth that men don't need women, but women need men, the fact that you said that, because the reality is we need each other. So you saying that, you didn't have good intentions. And again, I said this earlier, I've heard men then try to say things like that to women. To also call women 35 and up and say that they're leftovers. And so people keep talking about the tone that he uses, but I believe his message was wrong. I From him and his rhetoric that he spewed, I've heard very or seen very basic men try to tell women who could literally, I mean, honestly, were above, were out of their league, try to tell them that they didn't qualify. So he did put the fire behind certain people's back. So I think we have to be honest about that. I will never sit here and say that I think he was trying to build and make women better. I don't believe that, and I don't agree with that. Also, there was one last thing that he did that forever just kind of, it really turned me off. And I will repeat this again. I said this earlier. I watched his videos. I didn't watch clips. I decided to literally go and watch some of his videos because I wanted to be more informed. I didn't want to just speak off of clips, even though I'm a believer too that you can watch clips and get an idea of who people are. If a white person was in a saying something very problematic about black people in a few clips, we wouldn't sit here and say, "Oh, well, that doesn't mean he's racist." We would absolutely be questioning if he was racist or not. But one last thing that he did, and this triggers me if I'm going to be honest, because I worked with women who were abused as in a doctor's office. And he said something about, there was a woman in Atlanta who actually, I think she ended up getting killed by a guy that she was dating. And instead of him taking that time to really um, build people up and really talk about that topic, he instead decided to say that this happened to her because she didn't want to do what it takes to get a high value man. That's not someone that's trying to build up black women. And so no one's going to sit here, and I say this with love, and I'm getting a little more passionate because, like I said, that specific topic triggers me because I watch women getting abused in situations. You're not going to be able to tell me that he was trying to build these women up. And I'm done speaking. Thank you.
So now wait, hopefully I'm saying your name correctly, but I think you were taking things out of context a little bit in terms of what you said about when Kevin Summers had said that women need men, but men don't need. I think that's what
Not, not
you said.
to not to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I know the background of why he says that, but I'll let you finish.
Oh, okay. No, okay, cool. But what brother Tony said and brother Kevin said. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, okay, if like I think it was brother Tony that said it. But if you're a 6 figure man, okay, and you know what I'm saying, you have to understand that money, like the type of power that men have with money, it attracts a certain type of woman. And the reason and it goes back to what you said about Kevin Samuels, where he said, that 35-year-old women are leftovers, meaning that, you know, every like every year it's a new woman that is young, that is beautiful, stuff like that, that looks better than, you know, a 35-year-old because of, you know, her value went down and stuff like that. And she's much older, and she doesn't attract the certain type of man that she had when she was younger. So I think that's why he has said, what he has said.
Hi
Well, that
Yeah,
guys.
can I
goes
jump in
back
here for a second?
to, I just
Oh,
want to say this last thing. That goes back to Nicole then saying you're telling men to wait to get married, but you're not encouraging them at that at those ages to get married. So then you then want to call women 35 plus leftover women. So a lot of things he did, it was problematic. I'm sitting here listening to people like, You don't see this." He was not trying to help black women. Did I think that and then I really will let y'all speak, I'm sorry, but did I think that some of the things he said here and there were certain things where I was like, okay, I get what he's saying, but this whole like, oh, that was his only, that was really what he was trying to do is not true. And at the end of the day, when I believe your legacy is very important. And I don't believe that he left a great legacy with some of the things that he said and did because it didn't empower Black women. It actually, in many ways, he encouraged other people indirectly to break them down.
Yeah, can I
Here's
just let me?
Mr. Samuels didn't say, but here's something your father should have told you. And that's this. If men with money only want hot chicks to sleep with, what he didn't tell you is that you will only draw the predators. You will only draw the sharks, the opportunists, the ones that live to finesse you. That's what he didn't tell you. That's the part that was left out of the discussion. And it was left out of the discussion because the relationships weren't based on anything substantial in the first place. They used the word marriage, but marriage wasn't that wasn't it wasn't about marriage. Each one of them was finessing the other one. So the part that he left out is the part that puts you at risk. But that's a message that you can only get from afar. And I guess it's come to my attention that a lot of us just don't have fathers. Because if we had fathers, what Mr. Samuels was saying would have been academic, right?
No, I also want to say I have an amazing father. Both of my parents, let me just clear that up really quick. Amazing father who I'm very, very close to. Both of my parents have been married for probably 30 something years. So that assumption, I don't know if that was coming towards me, but I have conversations with my dad actually. I wasn't sure, but I have
It wasn't,
conversations with my dad about these things all the
I'm sorry,
time. So I just want
I'm
to throw
sorry.
that in.
It wasn't to you. I was talking to him.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, real quick. Hey, shout out to everybody. Like one of the things I'm hearing, matter of fact, that's pretty obvious, is that you got Kevin Samuel's message, and then a lot, a lot of people pretty much saying, "I see right through the message." That's kind of what I'm hearing here tonight. Yeah, he got a message, but it's BS. You know what I'm saying? The premise of it is BS. The foundation is cap. You know what I mean? Because he don't care about the community. He don't care about the women. A lot of guys are just saying that, so they can keep this gravy train going. And I think it's a lot of truth in everything. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of truth in Kevin's talking points. I mean, some of that stuff is irrefutable. I mean, if you walk outside and open your eyes, you can see that there's a weight problem. You can see. I mean, come on, man. Stevie Wonder could see these things. But if anybody that's well versed in the manosphere, if you've been around for a while, then you pretty much know that a lot of the messages are just bullshit, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. You know what I mean? A lot of it is disingenuous at best. You see what I'm saying? Um, and the reality is, and I don't even want to make this a big debatable thing. You know what I mean? A lot of black men ain't worried about marriage, man. I think that shit sound good on these apps and um, social media. A lot of niggas ain't worried about marriage, man. And it's really a shaming
Go ahead,
tactic for
Boogie.
women because, well, that's
He's
all good, but
speaking the
I
truth.
just
I'm
want to get it
listening
out.
to it. I like everything he's saying. Please go on.
Yeah, no doubt. Because the reality is, men are in control of marriage. Meaning, men decide when they're gonna propose to a woman, and they're gonna decide if they're gonna marry a woman. That's kind of, for the most part, out of a woman's realm and control. You know what I mean? Unless you put a gun to a man's head, and say, marry me. Other than that, a man got to do that on his own time. A woman can influence a man,
But that's really it. So like a lot of dudes understand where they stand with the whole marriage, even just proposals and even just serious relationships. You see what I'm saying? A lot of that is up to the man to take charge and make that happen. But that's kind of what I'm hearing, and I think that a lot of that shit is cap. You know what I mean? I mean, anytime, and this is no disrespect to the brother Nicholas. I think you kind of look like a young college kid, and to think that he can have an intellectual conversation with a woman that probably between 30 35, as if y'all would even date in real life, like he's schooling her. That's what Kevin Samuels channel did. And I don't think, a lot of people peep that. I'm like, this is a joke. And this is no disrespect to the brother. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a shot, but this stuff ain't real. How can you have a young man trying to intellectually walk down a grown woman that's in the world that's making moves and tell her about the dating scene? I think that's odd. You know what I mean? I really do. I think that's very odd, but it's going to keep happening and going to keep happening. You know what I mean? A large part of Kevin Samuels' audience was a lot of guys with no experience, I would assume. Now, once he got 1 million subscribers, that's a lot more people than that was just in the manosphere. But what I'm talking about, if you've been following um the manosphere and a lot of these channels for a long time, then you can pretty much say with certainty that that community shit was cat. We already, Tony Maceo been around, Nicole been around. A lot of people that's on this panel right here been around for a while. Even the listeners, we was able to pinpoint things and walk things down and point out contradictions, for years now. You know what I mean? Straight up. And I guess this is my last point, and I'll just stop. And then you got the last part of what I'm hearing about, Kevin's personal life. And, you know, I asked the question up in the chat room. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna ask it again. Is Kevin Samuels a Pookie? Is Kevin Samuels a high value Pookie? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the reason why I say that. There's this big argument on the Pookie and Ray Ray situation. But if you indulging in activities, right, extracurricular activities that I guess they would say your Pookie would do. I mean, you popping Viagra with drugs and this, and women that may or may not could be prostitutes or whatever the case is. Well, to me, that ain't really high value man behavior that he's promoting. Now, we know high value men get busy, but the shit that he's promoting, oh, women should get with these guys. And, you know what I'm saying? You choosing the wrong guys. Well, damn, nigga, you want the woman to choose a man to do coke and pop Viagra's? Are you serious?
That's a high value trick.
And I say this respectfully. This is respectfully, but I got to keep it a buck. Like, are you serious? So, I think some of this stuff is just odd to me, man. This whole landscape at this point is just very, very odd. And I'll stop right there.
Respect, Boogie.
Thank you for that, Boogie.
And can I say something just real quick? Brother Nicholas, this is nothing to take away from your understanding or perspective of what Kevin Samuels was speaking to. But I think that to kind of have just an understanding from a from an experience standpoint will also kind of bring better clarity too, brother. I mean, and I completely get what you're coming from, Nicholas. And that because I agree with the aspects of accountability and living to reality and real expectations. But it's always good to, to connect with brothers who have some experience with some of these situations as well, brother. That's all I got.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Kev, and Boogie from y'all perspective. Like anybody, you know what I'm saying, that's giving me a better understanding. Like I'm all for it. Like I'm open minded. You know.
Yeah, yeah, like no doubt, brother. Hey man, that was no personal shot at you. Don't take it, don't get discouraged. It was just stating some facts. Y'all know, how this room, you know what I mean, some of these rooms can get. But I just had to point out the obvious. You know what I mean? This is not really a real thing where, you're gonna get a younger brother walking down an older woman that's in the world. That's social media stuff. It's not a real thing. And in real life, y'all would be in two different lanes. Y'all would walk right past each other and wouldn't even look at each other because the lanes are different. So that's pretty much what I was saying.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I've been listening to a lot of different.
Hang on, Dr. Muhammad. I think a lady came off mic. You're right after her. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sis.
I'm sorry. If you can't hear me, my allergies are acting up, so I sound a little low. Um, my biggest thing with the whole I'm just gonna say this. I didn't follow Kevin Samuels. If I see his excerpts pop up on my social media, I'll listen to it because I just feel like, you know, a lot of people were listening to these pseudo therapists. I think, doesn't he have like his degree is in like chemical engineering? I do want to say, it's very sad of his passing. Nobody should go before their time. I don't have really any judgment on the man because I feel like, to like Nicole said earlier, this is for entertainment. He didn't, have a degree in any of this. He's not, a matchmaker or anything. Like, he has no credentials. And, you know, of course, it's always like, what is that saying? Bad news always travels fastest. The things that he's saying, of course, it's going to cause an uproar. I've heard people say that when his podcast first started, he was really talking to men, really trying to put out a positive message, get people together, whatever. Obviously, that wasn't gaining him any traction. And more so, probably because women, we're the biggest consumers of everything, good or bad. We're going to talk about it. We're going to spread the message about it. We're going to say our discomfort about things. So, of course, talking about us directly or indirectly is going to be a hot button issue. When men would ask me what I feel about Kevin Samuels, I mean, it would feel like when somebody would ask me, how do you feel about what Donald Trump said? Nothing. Like, that type of stuff. I don't fill my mind or my day with that. I don't have time for that. If you are out there and you are struggling, if you feel like you are, what I feel like a lot of people do is we'll take a situation that happened to us and then, keep projecting it on others as that's what it is. Women, we do that. We go through a couple of bad relationships with guys, and then it's like, okay, well, the next guy, he's gonna have money and he's gonna do this and da 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 da. When we really just have to heal ourselves, do the work, speak to a licensed therapist, find out what energy you're putting out there to get these type of people, men and women, or different things that you can change, and be introspective to yourself, and then deal with people accordingly. Instead of, if you're weak minded, then these things that come into your mind, you're just going to grab onto them and then hold it as if it's your gospel, because you really don't even know yourself. I even watch a lot of dating shows. They ask people, well, what do you look for? And they're like, well, I want them to be this, I want them to be that. And it's like, you really don't even know. So I just think that a lot of people have to do more work. Kevin Samuels was an entertainer, and he entertained a lot of people, and it's sad that he's, not going to be here to give that certain type of entertainment. But if it doesn't apply, let it fly. And I think that that's what a lot of people need to just take away from this, and actually just do the work with a licensed person that can actually help you. And that's what I have.
Dr. Muhammad, go ahead and jump in there.
the finality of death and the reality of death, it just it ought to make all of us, certainly it made me, pause and reflect on my own life. And I don't understand. I just don't understand, um, the kind of vitriol and the ugly, the ugly celebration of someone dying. I don't. I mean, I thought black people didn't do that. I thought we didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, where are things gone? I mean, look, look. Let me say my piece here. Um, I certainly didn't agree with everything Kevin Samuel said, obviously, but there was a lot of truth in what he was saying, and the man had a huge impact on African American culture, and that cannot be denied. The man took a YouTube channel, and got millions of followers. Okay, um, I mean Boogie. I mean, you can call it Cap, and you knew him. You know what I'm saying, and you know the landscape far more intimately than I do. Obviously, and I would never try to get in that lane, so I defer to you. However, what I want to know is this vitriol, this celebration of this black man's death, this, outrage at the things that he said. Here's the question I have, okay, because I've sat in many of these rooms that talk about marriageability, the marriageability, index or rating, um, marriage strategies for women. And I have heard so many stories of women who like ruined their opportunities, very attractive, women. Oh, and not maybe not some not so attractive, but many of them, quite attractive that really could have done well in life if they had been taught some of the things that Kevin Samuels was teaching. That, huh? Yeah. So, and why? Here's the question I have: why is it we don't show the same outrage, the same indignation, the same rage at the culture that produces the kind of behaviors that land women in these situations where we have artists singing about their WAP, we have black women calling themselves a savage, hypersexualizing themselves. You have, all of these programs that are produced and developed by folks outside of our community who recruit women from our community to portray the worst stereotypes of black womanhood imaginable, that's broadcast all over the world. All of these cultural outlets, Essence Magazine, Black Enterprise Magazine, News One, The Griot, all these people that, are having a party over the grave of Kevin Samuels. Where is the outrage for these negative depictions of our sisters that get them jammed up and get them and sell them this thought 304 culture that lands them in the situation? Okay, let's keep the same energy for that. Who's holding them accountable? Okay, and if you look at it, if you analyze it, a lot of the outrage is coming from the same proponents or propagators of this very destructive and nihilistic culture and cultural production and programming that is flooded into our community. And I'll land there.
Can I speak for a
All I have to
second?
say is preach. Preach.
So I like to talk really. Oh, is I don't have a
I like.
cue. Just popcorn style, y'all. Don't let it get quiet. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been
Just don't talk at the
I've been
same
waiting to
time.
talk
Go
for a
ahead.
while, and my thoughts are jumbled because I'm trying to address everything that everybody said. I respect everybody's opinion, but this is my point of view on Kevin Samuels. First of all, he's like he said a lot of things that were true. He definitely did, but it comes to it to me. It's like the way he said it is what ruined him. You know, when you write a child's book, you say something that appeals to children. If you're writing it for little girls, you put a lot of pink stuff and flowers and things that appeal to little girls. If you're writing it for a little boy, you put trucks and whatever it is that little boy is like. Now, if he was really, if Kevin was trying to be like nourishment for our community, he would have stepped back and he would have talked to us as a people, you know. And anytime someone is attacking the opposite sex, if you're a woman and you're listening to someone who's constantly attacking men, that woman is toxic to our community. And that's how I feel about him. And the thing about a great deceiver, the way intelligent people get deceived is by throwing a little truth in there. If it was all lies, intelligent people would be immediately turned off and wouldn't stay in tune. You understand? So that's what makes me feel like he was toxic, because he didn't speak to us as a whole. You know, he didn't speak to our people as a whole. He narrowed in, you know, on people's flaw, and that's detrimental, because now we have to, as women, we have to go out in the world and deal with the man who he's influenced, and as you as men, you guys have to go out in the world and deal with the women who have been developed calluses on their feelings or their minds based off the things he was saying. And that's why that's why I feel like he was not fruitful.
I want to ask a question to the women. Um, if you think that what he says is not true, like everything he said wasn't true, then why be offended by it? Why not just ignore it?
I didn't say that. I said that he said a
No,
lot
I'm
of
not
things that
talking
were
to you in
true.
particular. I'm not referring to you in particular. I'm referring to like women in general, like everyone that's saying that they think that everything he's saying wasn't true. Then why even be offended by it?
Because some people think about people as wholes. If you want to think about just individually, then okay. But like, this is a society. These people are raising people who are going to grow up with our children. And some people don't feel or think that deeply. And, I understand that too.
Well, I think when people say certain things, even though you don't think it's true, you can think a lot of things aren't true, but it can still come at your front door, right? So if he's talking to, let's say, if a lot of, I don't know, college guys are listening to it, right? And they start to spew that rhetoric, it's eventually going to show up at your door. So I don't think it's as easy as, like, you don't have to go find the information for it to show up at your doorstep, if that makes sense.
What I will say is this. When I first came on the scene, uh, my biggest detractors were church women and older women. And I said, wait a minute. My message is a Christian ethos. Why would the Christian women want my head on a platter? And then I was upset. I was like, well, why would the older women want my head on a platter? Because they know what I'm saying is true. They're my age. They've seen this play out. They're children of baby boomers, just like I am. They had two parents that worked. Most of us, most of them didn't have two parents. They know what's ahead. They do because they've seen it. They see how the statistics are trending. Why are they fighting me? And I'm not really talking to women my age. I'm really talking to the younger women. And I'm saying I'm doing my Titus 2 duty by saying, look, I'm trying to teach you not to avoid the pitfalls that I fell into. Look at the women ahead of you, and avoid those pitfalls. And it blew my mind. Why would the older women be upset that I'm trying to help the younger women? And one woman literally took the time to write me a book on Facebook, and she said, out of all everything she said, y'all, you know what she said at the end? We're upset because we're just now hearing it like this. And I was like, oh. Out of all that book she wrote me, and in between was cuss words and name calling. At the end of that, she said, I'm upset. Why are you just now saying this? Why didn't our mothers teach us this? Why didn't the church teach us this? Why are we just now hearing this when we feel helpless? Because it's nothing we can do to fix it. It's nothing. And she's speaking from as an older woman who literally is hearing these statistics, hearing it put before her like this. She felt helpless, and in her feelings of her emotions and trying to process this new information, it put her in a deep well of this roller coaster of emotions, and she projected that onto me. So I'm harsh. I'm a bitch. I'm old. I'm fat. All of that stuff was her release because she needed to get that off her chest, because she needed to get to process her emotions, because what I was saying was hitting. It was hitting and it was hurting. She couldn't process it the way it had to be my fault. It had to be Nicola's fat. She's jealous of me. She's it had to be that. It couldn't be I was telling the truth. And she literally trolled me. And at all she said was, why didn't I hear this 10 years ago? And that's when it dawned on me. It changed my whole outlook of how I did my message. So, anyway, I want everybody to jump in there and continue. Good or
Yeah.
bad, how did you
Right.
feel about Brother Kevin? Let's talk about it. Jump in
Right.
there.
Right. Yeah. One more thing too. The kind of speak on brother professor. I mean, he said it. He said it so eloquently, and he made it straight to the point. He made a good, intelligent point, brother professor. Yes. The problem is that we live in a society that promotes bad behavior within our communities to the detriment of our community. Period. You know, we live in a society that has created the a media purposely to disparage our community, and they build it off of these stereotypical archetypes within our community. Black women being either Jezebels or ancient mamas, or I'm so strong, I don't need a male or any man intervention in my life. These false archetypes that are not even true or based in reality, or amongst us brothers, the brute, the playboy that just be slinging a ding-a-lang everywhere, or the gangster, or the uh, uh, or the dickless, brother trying to be white. You know, these false archetypes, and we feed into these archetypes. We feed into these archetypes because they're fed to us since we're children every single day on television, in society, now throughout the internet, throughout social media, and we feed and we begin to behave and act like these archetypes that aren't even real. And they became personalities themselves. And I think one of the biggest issues is that what the brother pointed out to was bad behavior, just bad behavior. Period. Just bad behavior. You know, none of us own any media platforms. So we can't blame this brother, or we can't even blame that sister, that Cynthia G sister, or anybody saying that they did anything detrimental to our communities when our communities has been under attack since we've been here. Period. I mean, we don't own any media platforms. We don't own any major media companies. We don't own any streaming services. You know, not one brother owns an or sister owns a Netflix or a Hulu. You know, we don't own it. We don't own any of the media that depicts who we are to not just our community but to the rest of the world. And that's the biggest problem. We don't own any record companies that's of any significance. So we have to realize that, and we have to understand that we're under attack. And this whole thing is bigger than Kevin Samuels. It's bigger than our personal feelings and how we feel about each other, or how we feel about what someone says about us. You know, this thing is bigger. This thing is a clear example that we're under attack as a people. And we have to realize this if we're going to make a change. Yes, some of the stuff the brother said was wrong, but at the end of the day, it was some truth in it. But at the end of the day, too, that we have to understand that we're under attack as a people anyway. You know, if the brother wasn't even on there, you know, we'll still be having these conversations within our community about this gender warfare amongst our community. That keep in mind when we talk about submission. I mean, I do business. I work with wealthy white people and all this. I go into their households when they invite me into their households, I should say. You know, which is very rare and few in between. Because even though I'm a colleague of theirs, they don't see me as that. You know, when I walk into their households, their wives don't have a problem playing the role of the wife in their household. Period. Period. Now, I don't know what the discussions is behind the closed doors, but I'm going from a purview from what I see. You know, there is an attack for us to further divide the black family and destroy the black community, and that is one of the attacks that they are is using this gender warfare against each other, and praising the death of a brother and is to me is just further uh exasperates that point, you know, that we need to do something for our people and do something for our community and work on building ourselves instead of tearing ourselves down and destroying ourselves. That's all I have to say.
It's called basic decency. That's what it's called.
Absolutely.
It's called
Absolutely.
basic human decency. And for all their education, for all their college degrees, for all their, you know, cushy positions at these media outlets and these magazines and these blogs, for all their pretensions of being, you know, on the cutting edge and what have you, being, you know, hip and got their pulse on the culture and so on and so forth. The bottom line is they're low class and they don't or they lack or devoid of basic human decency to try to, you know, I mean, the man wasn't even gone 24 hours.
Absolutely.
My God.
Well, I think it's a basic, fundamental respect for the deceased and the family, that I was looking at. Whether you liked the man or hated the man, I'm looking at the family. Can you imagine being his family member and
Exactly.
pulling up social media and seeing all of the hateful things about you? Just got the news. And already
Exactly.
they're going in on your dad, wishing that he was dead. Like, why didn't this happen before? And I just want to say to the people in the audience, the fact that people actually have a problem with someone trying to educate women about femininity is actually Kevin's point,
And
that you
Nicole,
call them, hang on, that you call them hustlers, and the fact that people are actually fighting for black families, the black men and black women, the fact that you find that offensive, is actually his point. There are people that are dedicated to the survival of the black family, and I get it. That's not you. But if you come in this room trolling, we will report you, because Clubhouse, to my understanding, is that when they get reports of trolling, they will ban you from this app. And I'm telling you, if I realize that you are a troll, I need everybody on this stage to report this person as a troll, and we will get you banned from this app. You will not come in my room and derail this conversation. Everybody can, whether you love the man, hated the man, I'm giving you the mic. So if you come in here trolling me tonight when I'm being fun, I'm not teaching. I'm not on no pedestal. I'm not preaching. I'm just letting you all talk. Because most of these rooms are, I hate Kevin, I love Kevin. There's no middle ground. I'm giving a middle ground. I'm letting everybody speak. And if you troll me tonight, we're getting you off this app. I'm just letting you know that. So you just go ahead. And for those of you who hate black men and you love rooms to come in and derail conversations like that, date out. There you go. You don't have to deal with black men.
Right.
Date out.
Right.
There
Problem
you go.
problem solved. And I
There
want
you
to say
Right.
go.
one
Right.
thing.
Oh, go ahead, Sister Sasha. I'm sorry. I was
I want to say one thing. You guys, for people that were trolling his death, you guys didn't think that he has a black daughter, a black mother, but it's all this black girl magic, black women stick together. But you guys didn't think about that, did you? I just want to add that
That's
in.
If
all
I
we were saying. We're not saying you need to go, oh my God. We're not saying you have to grieve the man. We're just saying respect the family. Jesus, because I mean,
Exactly.
that's just like somebody in your family passing away, and then you find out that that person had a whole bunch of enemies because they're sending you hate
That's
mail, they're
awful.
sending you emails, they posting on social media. I'm glad that MFer was gone. He got on my nerves. Da 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 da. And you're just like, dang, can I process the information without all this extra? That's
Right.
all we're saying. And there's a generation gap because Generation X, we kind of understood that. But baby boomers, we kind of understood that. Even the gangsters back in the day understood you don't you respect Sunday and you respect people's mamas.
Right.
Now it's just like folk. I've just heard people just so cruel, and I'm like, I'm not saying you have to be his fan. I'm just saying respect the dead. That's all I'm saying. But anyway,
Right.
back to the
Yes, ma'am.
regular schedule
Right.
program.
Right. Yes,
so
ma'am.
if I could
Yep.
And,
if I
and that's
could
so true. That's so true too, because to understand
Kev,
this,
Kev,
right? It
Kev, Kev.
goes
I
back.
want to hear some.
Go
No
ahead.
disrespect, respectfully. I
Oh,
want to
that's all
hear
good,
some
sister.
new speakers because it's getting
Oh,
late.
okay.
Yeah, I want everybody to talk. Rebecca, welcome to the stage. Lantoya and Angela been sitting up here for hours and haven't said
All right. Cool.
anything. Come on, y'all. I
That's
want
all
to hear
good. Go
from
ahead.
y'all.
Go ahead. That's cool.
Vita.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
if any of the late
yeah. Mike, go ahead.
okay, yeah, so it kind of reminded me of an old book, old picture book called Without Sanctuary, where you would see pictures of white folks lynching black folks in a town center, and they would just be smiling. I don't know if any of you all are familiar with that book, but it was like picture after picture after picture of hordes of white folks in the from the late 1800s to early 1900s just smiling. The kids are smiling at a completely dead, limp black person, and that kind of is what this reminded me of. But on a lighter note, Nicole, I used to listen to you back in your YouTube days. I kind of miss you there too. And you had a very entertaining show one time, speaking about husband cute, and somehow or another you couched in uh, Ghost from Power. I'm pretty sure you remember that show,
Yeah, that was a good
and
one.
and the comments under the show were just incredible, and it just seems to me like you all are both kind of in parallel talking about the same thing. You from a woman's perspective, him from a male's perspective, and to me it was just like all all you trying to do is kind of reset folks' baseline because the world kind of tells you where you are and where you stand. So no matter how, if I'm a man and I think I'm a dime piece, the world will let me know. If I'm successful, the world will let me know. If I'm a woman and I might not look the best, but I think I'm the best, the world's gonna let me know. My results. So to me, it's just it's a matter. It's to the whole purpose behind resetting your baseline is you have a realistic view of where you are on the dating market so that you could date somebody that is on your level regardless of what their money is, that is kind of just that you guys are equally yoked, to speak in Bible terms, and everybody's going for the same goddamn person. Nobody's getting married. We can say, well, yeah, black men don't really want to go. Nobody wants to fucking get married. So excuse me. So I made a point in the chat. Like, listen, black folks want to party up until their damn early 40s. That's just a cultural thing.
Hello,
That's a
hello.
cultural thing. So we can say, oh, the men don't want to get married. Nobody wants to get fucking married. And before Kevin was even around, we still had this problem with women choosing certain people to have their babies with, and then taking issue with the man later on when they saw all the signs, ahead of time, making and then they make excuses for it later. So Kevin passing, he was not here. He was not around in 1991 or 1981 or 1971 when you had your baby by that sorry ass Negro. He was not around. Now everybody's trying to play catch up. Everybody's victimizing themselves instead of just taking accountability, like it's been said on the stage 5 million times. It's just about accountability. God damn it! I mean, what's the problem? And Nicole, as sweet as you were, seeing you in these marriage rooms on YouTube, as sweet as you were on YouTube, your message was not getting received by certain women, and there's no amount of sweet talk, saccharine,
and anything else that is going to have a disagreeable masculine woman on your is going to be on your same wavelength. So those women, and I don't want to call women over 35 leftovers, but the women over 35 that have that attitude are certainly leftovers. What the fuck are you going to do with them? You can't do anything with somebody who shirks at the ideas. If submission is just such an evil thing. First of all, I mean, most men don't even say that. But you know when you're treated a certain way that it ain't right, or it's just like, damn, she has a low, a high level of disdain for or contempt for me or something. Why? I'm somebody that you supposed to be growing old with, and you won't even bring me a slice of toast if I got two busted ACLs. So we're all trying to do for one another, and you get so triggered by small little words that are supposed to be completely natural in the dynamics of a relationship. I don't know why you're this way. I guess you don't like men. If you don't like men, then you're just, and I guess that's a lot of the people that are on this app. They just don't like men. And then the women, Kevin talks about how spoke about how the women talk. Man, most of the women on this app, y'all have heard the way they speak. Nigga,
Preach.
nigga, nigga, bitch
Preach.
ass nigga, bitch, so and so. I mean, it's what man, high level, high value, mid value, what man wants to deal with that kind of speech from a woman? Not a man with any kind of sophistication or class, regardless of his income level. And I land there.
Woo, well, drop the
Well,
mic.
Right.
hi, Nicole. Thank you. Hi, everyone, all the mods, everybody. You're right, been sitting up here for hours.
Hey, Angela, you
Couldn't
finally
get,
made it to the
hey,
stage, girl. I'm proud of you.
woo! I'm shy. But I just wanted to say that I was indifferent towards Mr. Samuels. I came across him in 2020, like right before the average. I guess that was in 21, the average at best. So I've been following him because I'm like, okay, who's this? You know, kind of sophisticated looking older guy talking about, and he made a lot of great points, I think, with women, especially, black women, with things that we needed to improve on, especially if we want the quote unquote high value type of men, and what they are looking for as far as the women and wives, And so he made a lot of great points, and some, of course, some of his points I didn't agree with, but for the most part, I definitely took heed to um, what he was saying. But I think it's very unfortunate of his passing, and much respect to his family regarding that. I'm 47, so I know who, and these people have been talking crazy about this man and his passing, and it's just unheard of, you know. So that's just unheard of, and that's just they just have no. I don't know who raised these people, but so, rest in peace to Mr. Samuels on that. But I won't, be up here too long. I don't want to say too much. I know everybody's got their opinions and what they want to say. I just wanted to say that. But I definitely think he made some great points. I kind of had to back off of what he was saying for a while because some of the stuff was just getting too wild, and but yeah, but I respected, his point of view, and everything like that. So, it's just unfortunate what happened to him. And, you know, but I'll just say that I don't, I'm not going to say anything and bash him or anything like that. Like I said, I was indifferent uh, with regards to him. But yeah, but that's it.
Thank you for that, Angela. She finally came to the
I
mic.
know. I
Um,
was scared. I'm shy.
Oh, no, no, no! You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's stages like this where you can kind of flex and get used to the stage. But
I
I did
know.
want to ask the people on the stage, how did you feel about how things are unfolding and all the details that are coming to light? Does that invalidate the stuff that we've talked about so far that he is right about? Does that invalidate him as the messenger? Does that undo the truth? Like, What do you think?
Well, I haven't heard a whole lot. I know that, he had a heart attack and everything. And I guess the young lady that was with him, I heard she was a nurse. That's what I heard. And then other people are saying sex worker. I don't know. I don't know. I just heard the young lady was a nurse. And I don't really know too much, of what is coming out, but I know it's gonna come out, whatever, it's gonna hit the fan. But all I can say is just time will tell. Time will tell on all of that. So if he wasn't living the life that he, talked about, then that may not, sit too well with a lot of his fans. And so I don't know. But I will say a lot of the men in his chats, dusty, dusty. So I'm like, he's not even talking to you, sir. The men in his chats, I'm like, he's not even talking to you, sir. Like, no, you're not even talking to you. And that's dangerous too, because you got a lot of young men that were, like he was like their God. They're listening to him and they're not even on the level that he's talking about. The type of men that he's talking about. These are just men that's just like, yeah, get at them, kid. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, tell them, yeah, they fat, they old. And I was like, okay, and I'm like, you're not even nowhere near the type of men that he's even talking to. So that's dangerous too. You have these, a lot of these young guys that's working at McDonald's, you know, uh, just like champion him to, just like, yeah, get him, Kevin, get him, and I'm like, the incels and Nick sales or whatever they call these guys. And I'm like, so that's a whole nother story too. But yeah, so time will tell, he, just passed yesterday. So we'll see. Everything will, start to unfold. And I don't know. I
Now the
don't know.
question becomes, Angela, because you brought up a really good point, and I'm glad you did because
Mhm.
I wanted to touch on this girl. So thank you for reminding me. I
Okay.
want to hear from his fans. What do you think about that? Because a lot of women feel, including myself, I'm in totally agreement with Angela,
Hmm.
that some of his followers, that's why he had to keep moving the goalposts on this high value man conversation. You notice towards the end, he didn't really harp on high value. It was all the Henrys, the hit squads.
The his
You know,
squads.
yeah, he
Hmm.
kept moving the goalposts to be more
Oh,
inclusive
okay.
of all these men.
Good
And then so now the
girl. Let me tell you
question,
something. When he would have his men's week, it was just
Oh,
atrocious.
right?
that
So
that
then
was
It
my
was just so
question,
comedy.
sad.
yeah. So then my
Those
question
guys
to
would
the
call
women,
in
right?
and they would be like, I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. Am I high value? No, sir,
So
you're
then my
not.
question to the
You're
women,
not.
is, and well, to actually to the men, how do you feel about that? That you hear women saying, you're not Kevin. You're not even on his level. And he just got it out the mud a couple years ago. So you
Hmm.
are not. You're subpar. Why are you talking to me? I want to hear from the fellas. What do you think when you hear women say this?
I'll give my opinion. First off, thank you, Nicole, for holding the room. Definitely a great conversation. Um, Damn, this has been the talk like the last few 2 days. It's crazy. Like when I hear women say that personally, I don't really get offended because I got to be realistic about what my perspective is. Like I'm not in that high value critiquement that he speaks of. So even though there are things that he mentioned that I agree with, I didn't go on the internet or go see women and use that as an excuse to go bash or judge or whatever, whatever. If I had my views about what I thought, I kind of kept it to myself. You know what I'm saying? So, did I like the fact that these dudes were using that as an excuse to kind of go attack women? I didn't. I understood why they did because they were also hurt and they need personal therapy and they got to figure that stuff out. But then a little bit part of me also felt like, you know what? a lot of them feel like they're not really being heard and spoken about. They're not able to speak up about their things and what they're thinking about. But they kind of took it too far, where it's like you get dudes on the couch. Because I've seen some episodes and it was embarrassing as a dude. What I'm saying? Like, I work hard and I'm trying to better myself every day. And I see dudes on the couch, you're like, oh, I'm sitting here and I got like this many chicks and this makes me high value. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, this is embarrassing. What I'm saying? And I know I would see the look on Kevin's face and he's just like, yo, he's annoyed. Like, this is a waste of time of a conversation. What I'm saying? So for me as a dude seeing that as a fan, it was embarrassing for me to say that. What I'm saying? So I'm gonna land it there and let others speak.
Oh, Mike, that was so beautiful for you to say. Let me I think everybody here might, not everybody, but most of the women are speaking are a little bit more seasoned than me, right? So I'm gonna give you my point of view. I'm 29 years old, right? And I'm gonna be totally real. Like, I have my little associate's degree. I went to school. I do have a child. All those things. I'm a little chubby, all of those things. However, I can meet a man who's 6'2", and he hasn't even graduated high school yet, and he's listened to this well seasoned man, and he's trying to put himself in that same category, and is trying to belittle me, even though I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but I am more prosperous than him. I'm more successful than he like, he barely graduated high school, or he didn't go to college. Maybe he doesn't have any children, but if he, thank God he doesn't, because he doesn't have a way to take care of them. But in his mind, he's listening to this man who is real groomed and seasoned. He's already been there and done that. Kevin, at that time, he has children at a wedlock. He owed some back child support, so I heard. I'm not sure what the facts are, but I think a lot of people got messed up too, because they weren't thinking about them. Like, I'm not gonna put myself on the same level as a woman who's 40 and she owns her home, and like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm high value as her, even though I'm younger than her. I would say she's more high value than me, because even though she's older than me, and she to me, in my eyes, she's more successful. Like, but he put a lot of men in a topsy turvy loop de loop by saying a lot of the things that he said. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was weird.
No,
But Kevin, I'm glad you said that.
nah, like, I understand. I think the other thing for me is I watched this show. It was entertaining, the shock jockey, whatever, whatever. My perspective about him started to change when I saw him in interviews that wasn't his show, or it wasn't going to see no foolery and or whatever, whatever. And the first one I saw was when he was on the Roommates podcast, and I listened to the message and things that he was saying. I was like, you know what? 3 hours on YouTube. Okay, you're saying some good stuff. Oh, okay, salacious, shock jockey value. Our people like to be entertained or whatever. So I'm guessing that's what it is. So I actually was intrigued to listen to the interviews where none of that happened. And I got a chance to try to get an idea of what he was about and the message he was trying to do. He wasn't perfect, and there were a lot of missteps he had that he could have did better. What I'm saying? Because I've heard a lot of honest opinions here tonight, and I'm like, yeah, it's true. I'm not so much of a fan where I can't hear criticism about somebody I like. That's unrealistic, and I'm not gonna put him on the pedestal. What I'm saying? And I've heard him say different times. It's like, yo, I'm not perfect. There were things I could do better. Some he tried to, and some he stubbornly held his 10 toes ground on. You know what I'm saying? So that's how what my thought process was about that. But for the people that, oh, I'm gonna whatever whatever, it's like, I mean, that's great, but he's also not really talking to you, and you kind of need to better your circumstances to even put yourself in a position to even have this thought process. For me to sit here and see people do that and they haven't even put in the work. And again, I'm not someone that's in that position, but even I wouldn't do that. I was willing to have the conversation with black women just on what the thought process was on what some of the things that he said. But if it didn't apply to me, I didn't bring it up. You know what I'm saying? So high that got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But things in terms of respect, where I could be in a relationship with a woman and I don't feel like I'm being heard of some shit. And Kerry would speak to that. I felt that did apply to me. So if there were conceptual things that applied to me, I was like, yo, this is good stuff. But if it did, I'm like, I ain't really in that situation. So I don't have an opinion either which way or whatever. But the thing about being able to speak your mind on certain things about the relationship or certain things you're thinking about, where you can't, like, the barbershop shouldn't be the only place to be able to speak about whatever. You should be able to speak what you need to speak in the relationship. It spoke to me, and I'm gonna leave it there. I don't want to keep rambling or whatever.
I have a good question here for everybody. Do you think Kevin Samuels was right about black women being difficult to deal with?
I don't think so. It really
I
depends
do.
on the black
I
woman, like,
do.
and their and how they were raised and where they're from. I guess black women come from
Holistically, I do.
everywhere.
Facts, yeah, he was right.
I think,
Most
if
of
I'm
them.
being honest, I feel some
I
are, but
do.
I
not
think
everyone.
he was
It depends
right.
on circumstances. Yeah, I gotta be honest.
I mean, look how they treat Nicole. Like, come on.
True.
Yeah, I do.
That's
Black women.
true.
Yes, yes. But we need to do better.
Well,
Fellas, what do you think? Oh, go ahead, Vita, and then I want to hear from fellas. Go ahead, Vita.
oh no, I just was gonna say, I think to Melo's point and Angela's point, it's gonna be an unintended backlash. But I can save that until they answer. I can come back on.
Well, I'm gonna say this. From that question, I would say yes to a certain extent, right? I mean, I've had the opportunity to be able to travel the world and go to other places and see other cultures and talk to other women. And I would say that there's a huge distinct difference in terms of personality and attitude towards various things, especially on the way they deal with men compared to African American women, right? Because of course you go to the continent, you know, it's totally different. Even in the Caribbean, it's different. So especially with African American women, I find it to be very difficult, well, not very, but a lot more pushback compared to other women that I've dealt with from other cultures, and even in me going to other countries as well. So
But let
yes.
me ask you this,
Always
Kev. Do you?
comparing. Always comparing.
I was gonna say. Do you think black women check out when you start talking about with Marisol and
Yep.
Maylene? They don't do that. Why do African American? Do you think? Do
I
you
think that's
think that's
cap.
a dig? Are you taking a dig at sisters? Are you
uh,
meaning to take a dig at
Miss
sisters? Come
Nicole,
on, be
no,
honest with me, Kevin.
Miss Nicole,
Dig
actually,
dig.
I'm not. Miss Nicole, actually, I'm not. And I apologize if if I offended anyone, but I'm just speaking from my experience, right? Now, when you ask the question, are black women difficult? In many cases, I said yes for the most part, and I also kind of compared you with my experience of other women that I've dealt with. I didn't have those same experiences. Now, I'm not saying that all black women are just jacked up. I'm just saying that my experiences are far different compared to the different women that I've dealt with.
So when a man feels that way, when you meet a man in life and he feels that way, that's when you have to dig deeper and you have to ask him about the personal relationships that he developed as an adolescent, as a child. Like how are you and your mother? And because that will stem away from there.
I think I think it's I won't say it's a black woman thing. I think it's just a modern Western woman thing more so than anything. But I also think, yeah, that's definitely a dig because much in the same way some sisters swear they gonna divest, and that white boy or Asian or Hispanic ain't gonna fuck with y'all. Is the same way a lot of black men talking that shit ain't gonna be able to be with that sexy ass white chick or sexy ass Hispanic chick unless there's some level of appeal. And if there's that level of appeal with you, you could probably just be with just as an attractive black woman. So I think there's a woman these days. A woman has to have full admiration, attraction, and respect for you to really kind of to really act like she's supposed to act. I hate to say it that way, because any other man, if a woman is just half-ass interested in you, a modern woman, she's not gonna see it out. She's not gonna toe the line. It's gonna you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna be miserable. You see it happen all the time. Doesn't matter how much money a man makes, if that woman does not have attraction, respect and admiration for your ass, it's gonna be a rough ride, man. It is, and it's for all Western women. That's the way I feel.
I'm sorry. Well, brother Marcus. I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean, again, this ain't no pushback because it wasn't intentionally to be a dig on my sisters because, in all intents and purposes, I'm in a relationship with a sister now. I mean, I date black women primarily. So I mean, it ain't this ain't no dig. So, but I do agree with you, Marcus. It is a societal thing from a Western perspective. But when it comes to um, not just intimate relationships. I would say when you posed that question, Miss Nicole, I was speaking on just overall dealings, right?
Well,
Right.
I get it. I get it. I mean, my husband, former Navy man. He's been all over the world, literally. And of course, before we got married, I asked him, "Did you date this type of woman? Did you date this type?" Because I wanted to know. So I get it. You know, if you're a military man or you travel a lot, you come across different women. That's just the nature of the beast. And if this we've heard this time and time again, sisters. We've been told this for the last probably about strong 15 years that we're difficult. We know this. As a matter of fact, that's was like one of my first viral posts was that I told black women, hey, today, just randomly, just go smile at black men. I'm not saying you have to pass at your phone number. You're not giving them the draws. Just smile. And did I get trolled? Tony, you remember that post? Child, I got trolled by the post, and then I went live. They jumped in my live and was calling me pick me, fat, old. Oh my God,
Exactly.
you
Yes,
want
I
us to
remember
get beat
that.
up by black men? You want us to get beat up and abused? I was like, good Lord, all I did was say smile. My God, you would have thought I said lay down on the car, spread your legs, give him some, girl. I mean, all I did was say smile. Like, if you have that much trauma that you can't even smile, there's a deeper issue. It's not the world, it's what you got going on, sis.
Right. Miss Nicole, I want to ask you. I want to ask you a question, Miss Nicole. Are you there?
Yes, and I just want to say to all the people who say, oh my God, we need protection from black men, I think you should divest today.
Please.
Just go ahead and divest. And I'm not trying to be mean. But there's nothing I can tell you to make you want a black man, to make you believe that there are some good men out there. There's nothing I can tell you. Nothing. You don't want to hear it. You don't. So I think it's best that you go ahead and just check out. Just go. I think that's best so that you don't feel that you are in danger. And so you leave the black community, the black men to us. There you
Right.
go. I mean, simple as that. Those of us that want to fight, stay here and fight and hold down the fort and fight for what little is left of the black family. That's we could we retain that spot. We'll sit here fight. You call us names, whatever you feel you got to do. But I feel like if you feel in danger, girl, you should divest, girl. Go ahead and divest. Get you a Chad. Go, please. I'm telling you. I'm not hating. I will open the door and roll out the red carpet. Please don't endanger yourself. No, no, no. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really saying go divest. I think that's best. I think that women who feel in danger, you don't have to come to black spaces. You don't have to talk to black men. You ain't got to give them no draws. You ain't got to have no back. You don't have to have struggle love. You don't have to talk about the black family, blackistan, the black woman being a workhorse, middle class ain't good enough, black men are dusties, they're abusive. You don't have to worry about that, girl. Go. Go into the wild and do what you need to do, girl. Let us know. And you come back and you let us know about. Actually, you don't have to come back and let us know. We'll just know that you're happy because we won't hear from you. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not respectfully. I'm just saying with that type of hurt, I think you should divest. And divest means to totally check out. Just go. I mean, for real. Like, how can you make it work with an abuser? Right? Us pygmies are abusive. Black men are abusive. You got all this money and this education, and you don't have time for those dusties. I get it. Go ahead, Kev. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, yes, I want to ask a question. From your experience, and I guess from your synopsis, from you dealing with various African American women, do you see the difference with African American women that don't have any fathers or male role models in their life compared to those that do, in terms
Yes.
of their attitude and that?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm not trying to be mean because I
Hmm.
want to hear other women speak. And I do understand because when I first came on the scene, I just could not understand how people could have so much hatred. They were saying, it's over for black women. I don't know why you're trying to save them with this femininity. And then the women were saying, I don't want a black man. I'm gonna go get me a Chad because black men are poor. So I was just like, well, dang, okay, well now I'm gonna open up all my stuff to multicultural. Now I'm getting white women married, Latino women, Puerto Rican women. Now they want to say I'm selling out and I'm abusing black women. I'm like, I can't win with y'all. I started out talking to specifically black women.
Hmm.
So and then I realized I had to sit down and talk to some people, and they were like, well, Nicole, you had a two-parent home. Your pastor was good, your grandfather was good, you had black male teachers, you had a black gynecologist, you had a black dentist, you had a black family doc. I mean, I had reputable black men around me my whole life. And a lot of black women just didn't have that experience. And so it took me years to kind of reconcile, okay, my story isn't everybody's story. But I can't change that. All I can tell you is that these men exist because I'm not teaching you about one guy I met. I'm telling you these guys exist. You just for some of you, you're in a position to meet these guys, but for somehow you're not connected. So that's where I come in. But some of you refuse to get out of the sector that you love being in to get around the men that are producers, or some just are flat out rejecting them, and then some in their particular situation, and these are very few women, but they do exist. They haven't met any good man. Nobody was good. Daddy was good, horrible. Baby daddy, men in their families, men in the community. Nobody was good.
Hmm.
And so I there's nothing I can do. Of course you would think I'm femininity hustling. Of course you would think I'm taking advantage of women because that ain't your story. You haven't met not one good person. Everybody, you know, abuse. You just had bad situations. So, yeah, that daddy part is
Yes,
huge. Yeah.
right, right,
And Nicole,
I,
oh, no,
I,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Miss Mello, but I want to kind of just make this a quick point. When I hear about the divesting thing, which I've never heard of it before until I got on social media, but when I heard about it, it was kind of comical. And it was comical because I work in different circles of individuals of different cultures and different races. And I'm gonna tell you, these men in these other cultures and these other ethnicities see the same thing that we see on social media in terms of the way that black women and black men behave. And I'm gonna tell you, culturally, a lot of them wouldn't be too amped to get with a woman or a man if it's a, I mean, who doesn't respect their own people or who can't respect their own men, because they feel if you can't respect your own man, then what makes you think you're going to respect me? And
Exactly.
so I mean, so we have to, so a lot of the sisters that want to divest, they have to really come to terms to reality, and that's part of really holding really having a touch on reality. A Chad is not going to respect you because you got with him. A Chad is going to fetishize about you, but he's never going to fully take you seriously based on what he sees that women like you with your attitude has on social media, dissing your own men that look like you. You know, because that Chad, his white women, they stay on code when they're in public. Now, I don't know what they do behind closed doors, but they stay on code when they're in public. I mean,
Unless they
Well,
grew
well,
up
well,
around black women.
Well, I want
Yeah,
to
that's
let the
true.
women
That's
speak,
true, Miss
That's
but
true.
Mello.
here,
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
but here's the thing. But here's the thing. I mean, people love to just start trouble in the chat, and then when I invite them up, they got 99 reasons why they can't come up. The thing is, in the chat, I said divest because you don't want to hear about black love. You don't want to hear about femininity. You don't want to have a discussion. You want to bash black men, and some of us don't want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Go get some therapy.
Absolutely.
Just, oh my
That's
Cause,
God,
simple.
I'm sick of
yeah,
that.
because Chad and
I
Todd
don't want
ain't
to
gonna talk to
hear
them.
it.
Because Chad and Todd is not gonna talk to them because they're gonna be like, "Shit,
Well,
you
it's
bad
not even
men."
about Chad. No, respectfully, it's not about non-black men. This is family talking. I don't want to hear about you gonna get your head bashed in. If you are convinced that black men want to abuse you, there's nothing I can say to change your mind. So you, sis, need to go. What part of that don't you get? Oh, I'm supposed to sit here and join the male bashing conversation, right? Because if I don't do that, I'm a pick me, right? Is that what this is? If you don't join in with me, let's just have this male bashing gang. Let's pick up our sticks and our rocks and let's go attack black men. And if I don't join in, then Tony's a pick me, Nicole's a pick me, Sasha's a pick me, Angela's a pick. We all pick me. You're a pick me. I'm a pick me. We're all a pick me. Is that what it is? Because we don't join in your hurt and your pain? No, we actually want a strong black man holding us tonight. That's what we want. And we know that bashing them ain't gonna get it.
Miss
Go get
Nicole, let
you
me come
some
in.
therapy,
Woo.
honey. Please, Lord. Nobody wanna hear that crap. Go to them rooms where they bashing men all day. They love that kind of stuff. Go over there.
Miss
Go
Nicole.
over there. Don't come in
Oh,
rooms like this.
oh.
Please. Go ahead, baby.
Let me get in real. Let me slide in here real quick. Okay, so I'm a woman who, based on my circumstances and the cards that I was dealt that really didn't have nothing to do with me, I'm one of those women who would statistically be a male basher, mad at black men, blah blah blah. But thank God that I'm a little, got an old soul, and I was wise enough to find out that at an early age that I don't want to be in a group of women and we all have the same hurt and we're just licking each other's wounds. I want to take notes from. There's no notes I can take from women who are bitter and hurt like I'm bit, like I was, not like I am, like I was bitter and hurt. There's no. I promise you, I found that out when I was like 20 years old, and it took me a minute to know there's a whole bunch of black women who had fathers and had, like you said, black dentists, black like everybody was black man prospering. Like I did that's nothing that I was introduced to. But those are the type of women that I want to take notes from. You don't need to be around people who have your same mindset and your same hurt and your same pain because they're not going to teach you anything. Just like you, Miss Nicole, you've probably been around a lot of women who have a lot. They probably taught you something. Bitter women, they probably put you on to something too, even though they're not in the best state. They probably opened your eyes too, and that's the word. That's to all the women listening. Like, do not stick around other people who have your same hurt. It may feel good because it's always good to relate to people who hurt like you hurt. But after a minute, like, come on now, like I'm about to be 30 next year. Like, I don't want to be licking my wounds forever. I want to take notes from a woman who's and please, just because I'm a woman who didn't have a father, please don't put me in that same bitter category as those other women because
But you
that's
know
my
what,
problem.
Marie? Can I share something with you, Marie?
I'm
You
listening.
are 10 steps you are 10 steps closer to becoming somebody's wife just by what you said. Did you know that?
I hope so, Miss Nicole. I pray you telling the truth.
Because men don't care that you made mistakes. They want to know, what are you doing to fix them, and are you open to some type of leadership. And you're owning it and you're saying, look, I'm open. I understand there's some good men out there. I need to position myself where I can get. That is 10 steps ahead of most women. Most women want to sit, wallow in self pity and pain and become bitter and frustrated. And then they, not only that, but they're like vampires. They want to come in, bite everybody in the room. Now all of us got look with that starry eyed look, walking around like zombies. That's what they want to do. But you're saying, I had enough of that. Look, I want me a family. That's what men want to hear. And it's not really about what they want to hear. It's about you changing your mindset and becoming a woman that attracts a man who's going to go through walk through brick walls for her. That is the type of woman that men are looking for. All they ask for is a little cooperation. That's it. That's it. Men are not hard.
Thank you, Miss Nicole. I'm listening to you, girl.
Anybody else has some stuff they want to get off their chest about brother Kevin? Good or bad, I want to hear it.
I
Well, I
wanted to
wanted
ask
to
this
say,
question.
oh,
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry. No, I wanted to ask this question. We had a young lady on the stage earlier who said that it wasn't just the way he expressed himself or made his points, but his actual message was wrong. So there's the form and then there's the content, right? And a lot of what we've heard is that it's the way that he said it. That's not the same thing as saying that, the point that he was trying to make is wrong, right? But this young lady earlier, she said it's both. It's the way he said it and what he was saying was wrong. And she mentioned the 35. If you're over 35, you're a leftover and what have you. Um, I like to ask y'all what y'all think about that because um, that's you know I hear the words, right? You hear the words, but what did he mean by that? Okay, the words are harsh. That no question about it. That's a very harsh statement, right? But what exactly did he mean? And I didn't see very many people really try to drill down on the point that he was making. Now, as a man, I can tell you that that's how men think. You may not like that's how they think. Would it have been better received if he had said that men judge women the older they get, the longer they go, that they don't get married, then men start asking themselves questions. That's a fact. You may not like it, but that's how men think. And I'm going to tell you something else, ladies. When you're dating a man and you get the conversation flowing and you just very casually start mentioning all the people you've dated and well, let me tell you what's going on. That man is counting bodies. Okay? So when you hit 35, 40 years old and you've never been married, all right? Yes, the way Kevin said it, it's harsh. Um, I think what the brother said earlier, there's an entertainment factor involved. There's a kind of shock jock. He knows how to generate controversy, whatever. But the underlying truth of what he is saying is a message that women need to receive, which is that you look good, you're an attractive woman, right? You have a great personality. When a man sees a woman as 35, 37, 38, 40, that's a nice looking woman, right? That's attractive. And she's not married and she's never been married. Then there are questions that are automatically generated. Then what were you doing for those fruitful years, your best years. What did you do with those years? Was it a health issue? Did you have some health problems? Is there some mental health issues going on here? Were you just, a 304? Were you thoughting it up? Okay, there's a backstory here, okay, that I need to find out about. You see what I'm saying? Because now you're 35 and now you're competing, right? Why did you allow all those years to go by when you had the best chance, you know what I'm saying, of locking down what you say that you want? I certainly would never say it like that. But Nicole, am I crazy? Am I off base? Help me out here.